Hey Mark, how you doing? Alright, let's get right into it. The rumors are swirling. Are you running for president in 2020? Well, Tom, I don't know where you're getting that from. Well, there are serious questions surrounding recent hires of yours. According to Politico, you recently hired Joel Benison, a Democratic pollster, advisor to former President Barack Obama, and chief strategist of Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign. And you also hired David Plouffe, the campaign manager for Obama's 2008 presidential run, Amy Dudley, former communications advisor for Senator Tim Kaine, and Ken Mellman, who directed President George W. Bush's 2004 re-election campaign. This on top of the year-long listening tour you've been on, in which you've traveled through all 50 states. That's what I do. I'm a man of the people, but I could assure you I'm not running for president. All right, Mark, I'll have to take your word on this one. Speaking of presidential elections, what do you have to say to critics who have come out this week and accused Facebook of colluding with the Clinton campaign during the 2016 presidential election? And if you don't mind, I'm going to read an email here that you had sent to Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. August 7th, 2015. John, I enjoyed spending time with you yesterday, and our conversation gave me a lot to think about. Thanks for sharing your experiences with CAP and some of the choices you made as you put the organization together. I hope it's okay if I reach out as my thinking develops to get your ideas and reactions. If there are any other folks you think I should talk to, please let me know. Thanks again. I look forward to continuing our conversation. Mark. As well as this email from Facebook Chief Operating Officer Sheryl Sandberg to John Podesta in 2015. Thank you. Means a lot to me that you reached out. And I like that you are praying for Dave. I have to believe he's in heaven now. And I still want HRC to win badly, Hillary Clinton. I am still here to help as I can. She came over and it was magical with my kids. Well, that's fake news. Fake news, Mark. Those are emails from you and Sheryl Sandberg, the Chief Operating Officer of Facebook, who has your ear directly on a daily basis. Fake news! Whoa, Mark, calm down. It's just a friendly interview. I thought you were looking a little stiff over there. You're starting to sound like Hillary Clinton. Since you bring up fake news, I know Facebook recently rolled out its new policy of third-party arbitrators to combat fake news. I know you have ABC News, the Associated Press, factchecks.org, Politifact, and Snopes in charge of being the third-party arbitrators to determine what news is real news and what news is fake news. Now, you have faced some criticism. Factchecks.org is funded by the Annenberg Foundation, which is a leftist globalist think tank. Politifact has received large sums of money from people that donated to the Clinton Foundation. The left-wing bias of Snopes is well documented. What do you have to say about the criticism you're getting of the third-party arbitrators in charge of determining what news is fake and what news is quote-unquote real news? Well, what would you have me do, Tom? We can't just have fake news out there. We need something to combat the fake news. What would I do? I wouldn't do anything, Mark. With free speech, the best ideas win. And I have to say, it's really insulting that yourself, Hillary Clinton, have been calling for a solution to the quote-unquote fake news problem. Why is a solution needed? Basically, what you're saying is that your supporters and the general public at large aren't smart enough to determine for themselves what is real news and what is fake news. That the general public doesn't have the logical processes to figure out what is fact versus what is fiction. It's very insulting. And I have to say, it's very disturbing, the trend of censorship that we have seen since Hillary Clinton originally called for Facebook and the other big alphabet companies to solve, quote-unquote, the fake news problem. And if you don't mind, I'd like to take some time to go over the disturbing trend of censorship that we've seen. This according to the Daily Caller. Facebook's strategy to fight the spread of false news is threefold. And remember, ABC News, the Associated Press, factcheck.org, Politifact, and Snopes, all either establishment or establishment funded, are in charge of determining what news is fake. Step 1. Disrupt the economic incentives to create it. So demonetize grassroots journalism. Step 2. Build new products to curb its proliferation. Create algorithms, basically, that prevent the spread of news that the establishment deems as fake. And step 3, help people make more informed decisions when encountering fake news, quote unquote. Basically, if people click on news that the third-party establishment arbitrators have deemed fake, they get a little message saying that the news they are about to read is fake to try to discourage people from wasting their time reading something that isn't, in fact, real news. Yeah, that's right. It's a great system. I don't see why you're implying there's a problem. I'm implying it's a problem because it centralizes the control of information. 5 corporations control 90% of the corporate mainstream media. Choice is an illusion, but grassroots journalism breaks the monopoly over the control of information. But if you restore that monopoly mark, then you're taking away power from the people. And if you want to know how this works in practice, just look at what Facebook does in other countries. According to the New York Times, Facebook created a censorship tool to get back into China. Facebook is helping the communist Chinese government suppress the natural rights of its citizenry, and it's creating an echo chamber where the establishment of power controls all of the information. According to the same article, Facebook has done similar things in countries such as Pakistan, Russia, and Turkey, and between July of 2015 and December of 2015, only a couple of months, Facebook blocked roughly 55,000 pieces of content in about 20 different countries. On top of this, in 2017, Facebook shut down 30,000 different accounts in France in the lead up to the 2017 French presidential election. You know as well as I know that information is power, and that's why dictatorships all over the world, China, Turkey, Pakistan, Iran, censor information that goes against the political establishment. And Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, you have been complicit in helping countries all around the world censor information so that their citizens can't get the truth out, and you started to do that here in America, and I don't think the American people have to stand for it. Come on, Tom, countries have laws and we have to follow them. Oh really? Did the law say you have to censor conservatives in America? You did that all on your own. Alright, Tom, we met with conservatives after that and worked it all out. It was just a misunderstanding. I would believe that if you didn't suspend Mark Dice for disliking a transgender mother commercial, or censoring God himself for criticizing the military. Well, we are a private company. We can do what we want. Yes, you are a private company, but you have to understand that people are worried you're going to run for president. And based on your track record, people are questioning whether you would defend the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, because once the First Amendment goes, all of the other amendments will fall with it. And you don't have a great track record when it comes to other pillars of American freedom and the American Constitution. Just look at your track record when it comes to privacy rights. This is a chart of just some of the information that Facebook collects on the general public. Demographics, location, age, gender, languages you speak, relationship status, education level, field of study, schools you've attended, undergraduate years, your employer, your job title, the industry you work in, your financial information, net worth, home ownership, home type, the household composition, who lives with you, the office you work in, ethnicity, generation, parents, information on your family, life events, when your anniversary is, when you go away, when you're in town, the status of your relationship, if you've been newly engaged, if you've recently moved, any upcoming birthdays, information on your friends, your political leanings. Are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? Are you an independent? Your interest in business, industry, entertainment, family and relationships, fitness and wellness, food and drinks, hobbies and activities, shopping and fashion, sports and outdoors, technology, the behaviors you engage in, your automotive behaviors. Do you ride a motorcycle? Business to business, your charitable donations, your digital activities. What do you do online? What websites do you visit? Your job role, your financial information, what media you're interested in, your purchasing behavior, your mobile device use, your travel information. Facebook stores our facial recognition data with 97% accuracy. According to a 2014 patent, Facebook accesses the video cameras on our iPhones, records our facial expressions and our emotions, links them to algorithms, and then uses the algorithms to change what shows up further down the news feed to sell different products to people based on the emotions they're having at any given time. Now, Tom, we have admitted to running studies where we manipulate people's emotions, but we have denied using that manipulation to sell them products. That could be true, but I doubt it. But there's no doubt that Facebook sells the public's information to advertisers so that advertisers could sell products to the public. In fact, according to Business Insider, you once called people who give you their information dumb fucks. Hey now, we issued a statement on that. Yeah, a statement where you did not confirm or deny if the allegation was true. Even if it was, what's the problem? The problem is that the American spy apparatus has been out of control. Edward Snowden revealed that the NSA was collecting blanket information on all Americans, and no one's been held accountable. We need a president, we need leadership that will respect the individual liberty, the constitutional rights of Americans, and based on your record, I don't think you'll respect the Fourth Amendment, the right to privacy, the right not to be searched without a warrant. And based on your First Amendment, your Fourth Amendment track record, I have to wonder, what other amendments to the Constitution do you just disregard? Well, I have prohibited firearm sales on Facebook. Yet you spend millions of dollars on armed security everywhere you go. So you have armed security, but the average citizen is completely defenseless against anyone who comes with a gun and tries to kill them. Not to mention that the main purpose that we have guns is to fight off tyrannical government. And if you're the president, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the Fourth Amendment, the right to privacy, the right to be searched without warrant, are all going to be in danger. And now you're telling me we're not going to have a Second Amendment to protect ourselves. You're not going to need a gun to protect yourself. Didn't you hear my speech at Harvard? Everyone's going to be taken care of. Here, let me play the speech.
Today, we have a level of wealth inequality that hurts everyone. When you don't have the freedom to take your idea and turn it into a historic enterprise, we all lose. And right now, today, our society is way over-indexed on rewarding people when they're successful, and we don't do nearly enough to make sure that everyone can take lots of different shots. Now let's face it, there is something wrong with our system when I can leave here and make billions of dollars in 10 years, while millions of students can't even afford to pay off their loans, let alone start a business. Look, I know a lot of entrepreneurs, and I don't know a single person who gave up on starting a business because they were worried they might not make enough money. But I know too many people who haven't had the chance to pursue their dreams because they didn't have a cushion to fall back on if they failed. We all know you don't get successful just by having a good idea or working hard. You get successful by being lucky too. If I had to support my family growing up instead of having the time to learn how to code, if I didn't know that I was going to be fine if Facebook didn't work out, then I wouldn't be standing up here today. And if we're honest, we all know how much luck we've had to get to this point in our lives. Every generation expands its definition of equality. Previous generations fought for the vote and civil rights. They had the New Deal and Great Society. And now it's time for our generation to define a new social contract. We should have a society that measures progress not just by economic metrics like GDP, but by how many of us have a role we find meaningful. We should explore ideas like universal basic income to make sure that everyone has a cushion to try new ideas.
Universal basic income? Mark, we've already established that if you're the president, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, the Fourth Amendment, the right to privacy, to not be searched without a warrant, are all in danger. And now you're talking about universal income, which is just a cheap way to rebrand communism or socialism. 50 million people died from execution or starvation under communism in the Soviet Union. Starvation. 80 million people under communism, under Mao in China. There's only two ways to implement your universal basic income. The first is through inflation, where the Federal Reserve Bank would print money backed by nothing and give it to all people in society, which would cause inflation, devaluing the American dollar, making it so even if you make large sums of money, it's worthless. Or to increase taxation on a mass level so that people in the middle class get taxed at such a high rate that they could never advance, that they could barely afford to live. That money gets redistributed down to people who make less money, people in poverty. They have just enough money to eat, not to start a business, which requires investment. So they remain in poverty, should they ever find the creativity, because if there is a will, there's still a way, to make some money, to start a business. It won't matter because they'll be taxed at an incredibly high rate, and that money will just be redistributed back to people who make less money, preventing any chance of advancement in society. And as happens in all communist socialist societies, this leads to a large underclass who is not capable because they're being prevented by their government from advancing. This kills the incentive for innovation, so people stop trying to make money and just come to rely on the government. Less and less people have money, everyone's in poverty, innovation stops because innovation is driven by will for profit, will to advance yourself. And instead, people starve, and a small government powerful group has all the money, all the wealth, all the power, while the masses remain in poverty, helpless, unable to fight back against an enormous power structure. This is what you want for America? This is the direction we're going to go?